Hello and welcome to another episode of Daily Cricket presents CRICKTALK with me, Mohammad Isam, ESPN Cricket Info's Bangladesh correspondent, and with me is Atif Azam, CrickBuzz's Bangladesh correspondent. We start the show with a bit of a disclaimer. I've been a little away from the action because of some family health issues, but of course, Mr. Atif Azam has been on top of things. So we will get right to the action. Bangladesh start the ODI series against Sri Lanka on the 2nd of July. We will obviously cover that series, but there's a lot of other topics that we will talk about. But we'll start with the ODI series. Bangladesh are ranked at number 10. This is a very crucial one-day series for Bangladesh in terms of their ranking and in terms of their future, especially for the 2027 World Cup's automatic qualification spots. They have a new captain. Atif Bhai has already spoken to his man out there in Colombo, Mohammad Jubair, who is the Daily Sun's correspondent. Atif Bhai, give us a bit of an idea about what's happening in Colombo and what can we expect from the ODI series.
Yeah, I've spoken with some. There's also Tabin there,
Right.
Our photographer.
Right.
So just to start, I want to say that today they had a team huddle before joining the practice.
In the ground.
In the
inside,
ground, huddle in the ground.
Yeah.
And Mehdi Miraj, Taskin Ahmed, and others spoke in the huddle.
Mehdi Miraz being the captain.
Being the
Is there
captain.
vice captain of this team?
No, not yet.
Do they have a name?
No.
Okay.
Taskin Ahmed spoke.
Okay.
Few others also spoke. But Shanto did not speak in the huddle.
Nazmul Hossain Shanto being the previous captain who went through
did
so
not
much
speak.
drama.
I don't find it very wrong not to speak in the huddle. But what I find it very surprising is that from day one, everyone is watching what Shanto is doing in the huddle. That only suggests that going forward, every step Shanto and Miraj will take will be under scrutiny.
Yeah, will be under scrutiny, and also the fact that the drama that entailed with the ODI captaincy. I think you'll have to tell us a bit about what happened behind the scenes because you've followed that situation. I'll just lay it out for the audience. So Shanto was the ODI captain till the Champions Trophy earlier this year. Bangladesh was knocked out, and after that Bangladesh didn't play any ODIs. They've played 2 T20 series, and Bangladesh had changed the T20 captain because Shanto had resigned in January from the T20 captain. So Liton Das was became the T20 captain. Shanto continued as the Test captain. Bangladesh played against Zimbabwe in May, and then of course they played in Sri Lanka. So the day Shanto was about to head to Sri Lanka, I think 12th of June, he told the media. And I think you were in that press conference, and he spoke at length about ODI captaincy. And
yeah, I even asked the question.
Yeah, you asked the question about the long-term possibilities of an ODI captain, and he was very frank and forthright about it. Atif Bhai, did you know that he was about to be sacked?
No. I only knew that there's going to be a Zoom emergency meeting. And what I felt initially was that as Bulbul has joined the group, with the new group, they must be talking something regarding the. Initial thought was that I didn't have any clue that new ODI captain will be announced. What I felt is that probably they will have to take some decisions regarding. I mean, he has got a lot of other things, got priorities like he need to hold the election, all these things. So probably because emergency, all the members of the board
Directors held a meeting.
Held a meeting, but I didn't have any clue. But what followed after that?
Shanto had no clue either.
No.
So hours later, Shanto finds out from Nazmul Abedin Fahim, the BCB's cricket operations chairman, as also a director, that he's no longer the captain.
Yeah, but there's some in that.
Please inform us.
Shanto went to the BCB cricket option.
After the press conference.
After the press conference, he had a chat and went to the BCB cricket and he was seeing Phil Simmons sitting in the room.
Right.
Then, that he knew that he don't have any time because he'll have to leave tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So he asked Simmons, let's talk about the ODI squad now. Just prepare the squad, and then we'll do something. So we don't have to think about it when I go to Sri Lanka. This happened. Out of nowhere, Shanto was called by Najmul Abedin, the famous board director of Bangladesh Cricket Board.
Yeah.
And he was informed that he was not,
Shanto was informed?
that he is not the captain anymore.
Right, yeah.
And when he was informing this, Phil Simmons was sitting in the room waiting for Shanto
To talk about the ODIs.
ODI squad. He literally left the ground in a hiding mode. He didn't have a face to show to Simmons. He just probably told him that I'm not in the authority to talk about this anymore.
Why don't you?
We'll see it later. Shanto on that day wanted to quit.
Test captaincy.
Just captaincy. Probably BCB and his close ones asked him, requested him that you don't do it, you just keep your head cool for the Sri Lanka series. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But on that day, Shanto decided that I'll not stay as the Sri Lanka captain.
As a test captain of
As a test captain. Isham, there's few things that we need to get a clear answer. Why we need to have an emergency Zoom meeting? Why emergency meeting are held? When we have emergency issues. If I'm not wrong.
Right. So you think that Shanto's captaincy shouldn't have...
Yeah, because emergency meeting, when did we have an emergency meeting? You remember, we sacked Sakib for President Bapan Bhai called an emergency meeting.
Right.
Sakib did something and he will be banned for 6 months. You remember that thing?
Of course.
Several occasions we had emergency meetings in
For
BCB.
emergency
For
situation.
emergency issues. What emergency issue prompted this BC board to take this meeting? Was there any issues? Now, secondly, the question comes whether there was any issue regarding Shanto's discipline. None. If he had any issues with Shanto's discipline, then in that case he would not be leading the test squad.
Absolutely.
So he was not having discipline issues.
Right.
Now, third, then what can be the reason? He is having pressure from the ODIs. How can he average more than 15 ODIs as a captain?
Yeah. Just to give a background on the ODI team, Atif Bhai, since 2022, when Bangladesh beat India in that series, that graph has really gone down. They lost to England in March, and then Tamim's captaincy issue blew up. Tamim's even saying the team went crazy, and then you had the World Cup where Bangladesh failed. And then after the World Cup, they didn't play a lot. I think Sri Lanka series was won, West Indies series they lost, Afghanistan they lost. It wasn't anything to do with Shanto from, he scored runs. I think they won against Sri Lanka. Then they lost against Afghanistan and West Indies 3-0. The bowling was an issue. The top order batting was an issue. It really wasn't Shanto, and he didn't even play in the West Indies when they lost that series. Even in the Champions Trophy, I felt that Bangladesh's balance was off. They really didn't know what lineup to choose. And Mushfiq's form was an issue. And all of those things added to the problem of the ODI team. The ODI team falling to number 10 isn't Shanto's problem. It was a legacy problem. The team wasn't doing well. So just to add to your point, so let me just take it a little forward. So Shanto goes to Sri Lanka. I think the media asked him about the captaincy before the Galle test. He said, I'm not going to talk about it.
What happened is that he said that I won't do it. Then they wanted to do it. Then if someone from the close quarter points finger at the BCB directors that it's not Shanto's fault that he is being omitted, it's just that he represented Abahoni.
What?
They need a...
Seriously?
Yes, some of the guys even asked that...
Adibhai, let me get this clear. So Shanto's decision to stay with Abahani, a Dhaka Premier League club, of course it has political affiliation with the previous government. Definitely it has. But Shanto stuck to the team. The team was allowed to play in the league. It wasn't as if the cricket board didn't allow. They're the eventual champions. You are saying that the cricket board had that as a problem? Saw that as a problem?
I'm not saying that they saw that as a problem, but people assume that is one of the problem he had it.
Okay.
Because no one is there to back Shanto. And in Bangladesh cricket, we know that Bangladesh cricket runs by clubs.
Especially these big ones.
The big ones.
Abahani and Mohammedan.
And now being a part of Abahani, how can he lead the ODI squad?
Right.
They need someone from Mohammedan to lead the ODI squad. And it was very logical because we have seen that in the past.
Of course.
We have seen that on numerous occasions. Nannu is there. Okay, no, Nannu. We need some Akram. He's from Abahani. Let's bring Akram. So this Abahani Mohammedan game is not
Bulbul, Durjoy.
Exactly. If this is the case, I won't be surprised. If this speculation eventually turns true, will you be surprised?
Not
We didn't
really.
think that way.
Given how the cricket board operates, of course, and the way the mandarins are at the cricket board, or these dinosaurs in the cricket board, of course, that is how they think.
Then he went to Sri Lanka. When he was there in Sri Lanka, on probably the last of the test match, probably the last of
Colombo Test match.
in Colombo Test
Okay.
match. He called I wrote that Shantan reconsider.
Yeah. You had to say that.
No.
Go on.
No. He told some of his close friends that I'm not here.
Okay.
That's not, and I'll tell this. And what really surprised me is that BCB Cricket Operations
Chairman.
did not have any chairman, Nazmul Abidin, who
Yes.
is more known as a two chairman now. Right now. I'm not too sure.
Okay, we'll go on with the story. We'll get to that. Of course, we'll get to that.
He told that I'm not staying. And when everyone started writing that he might not stay, they didn't give a damn.
Atif bhai, just to interject here, a captain tells some of his close teammates or friends that he's about to quit the captaincy, a Bangladesh captain. Let's get it straight. It reaches the media writes about it. The board is saying we don't know. The board, usually from my experience with previous presidents or previous cricket board groups, like Nazmul Hasan Papon's group or Lotus Kamal's group, these directors or these employees, they know, they have that intelligence. I'm not saying intelligence in the sense that they have that information way before the media does, from my understanding.
But this time it was not, because this time someone had to face Shanto.
Right. Had to ask the question.
Had to ask the question, had to have the courage, moral courage to ask this question.
Right.
Because what they did with Shanto, I don't think that anyone had that courage to, Shanto very well.
Of course.
He can piss off anyone at face. So no one dared to speak with him in that manner. He was adamant to go away. Probably his coaches and close ones again asked him whether you give it a second thought, and he said that no, I don't want to give a second thought. And then they decided. And he took it with all his coaches, I mean, the people with whom he works. So he didn't know that he's not staying. When I wrote that, I know that he's not staying, but still there was a chance. I could not write that Shanto is likely to step down. I know he might reconsider, because everyone who informed me asked me that there can be a chance if the board starts negotiating with him right away.
Yeah.
But I don't think that board give a damn.
Okay. Initially, after Shanto said that he's quit the captaincy at the press conference, the reporters asked Nazmul Abidin Fahim, the cricket operations chairman, and the person who travels with the team, like since Bangladesh, since the cricket board changed and he came into the director's role, or he became the cricket operations chairman, he's been traveling constantly with the team, and also with the women's team as well.
Under 19 women's team.
Under 19 women's team as well. He's been traveling. There's been a talk about how this is a problem within the cricket board. No, but my point here is that if you are traveling with the team, if you're always with the team in the team hotel, you sometimes, of course, you have to take very tough decisions. There's no doubt about that. But then why would you be so close to the players physically when you know that you have to, if you're trying to be friends with them, you cannot report on them, right? As reporters, if you're going to be friends with them, you cannot select them as selectors. This guy, he is technically the boss of the cricket team. If you consider the selection committee and the team management being part of or being under the cricket operations, he's supposed to be the one who's the overseer of the whole thing. I don't remember previous cricket chairman, traveling so much with the team, or at least being so close to the team. What is he trying to do? What is he trying to achieve?
Let me just ask you one thing. What is the major role of the cricket operations chairman?
Cricket operations.
No.
Yeah.
But for me, if we're talking plain words, then I would say that for him, the biggest thing is that he will handle 25 individuals who are his contracted cricketers. Am I wrong or right?
Absolutely.
And the second thing that will work as his strength is that he would understand how a cricketer reacts on different situations. Because I'm telling you this, Because he probably thought that Shanto will be another someone like other cricketer who would stick with his test captaincy.
Yeah.
He could not understand his mind, his psychology, the way he reacts.
Yeah.
When you are traveling with him so much, when you are traveling with the team so much, you must be understanding that how these players work.
Yeah.
Shanto will do one thing, Liton will do another thing. Miraz will do it separately. What works for Shanto might not work for Miraz. Understanding and differentiating different people and handling them differently should be the major role of cricket operations. We have made blunders earlier. We could not handle Saqib. And it was a total failure of the cricket operations.
And this Nazrul Abedin Fahim used to criticize
all these things.
These things. He was on top of it. Yeah.
Honor. Exactly. You have to handle your players. You know, and handling players does not mean that you are just signing his NOCs. Handling players means that if I don't know how Zubair works, I'm not entitled to ask him, be his boss. Or if you don't know, I'm just asking you that if you don't understand his way of operation, because this might have not been the case with some other cricketers. Because test captaincy is a big thing. You'll get there's a lot of things.
Of course, one-day captaincy is a big thing. T20 captaincy is a major thing these days.
Major thing.
Yeah,
Test captaincy is also a big thing. So if that cricket operations chairman thinks that Shanto would not be able to resist that temptation of holding on to that, he might be thinking that, okay, some other cricketers always said that we would do that, but he won't eventually do because he will think that test captaincy is a big thing and I must hold to him. Now what happened to him? And the worst part is that when he handed over, informed Shanto, then he came to the media and said that Shanto took this decision warm-heartedly.
That's not true.
Then he wouldn't be resigning as a captain.
Yeah. Adibhai, we will pivot a little bit.
Yeah.
Of course, in the last 4 weeks, we've had a new ODI captain. We've had a new board president as well. We're talking about Nazrul Abedin Fahim, but he's just a director in the cricket board. Although the way I'm saying it, he might not like it, but there's a board president on top of him. It's Aminul Islam Bulbul, the former Bangladesh captain and Bangladesh's first test centurion, and someone who's worked in cricket management for the better part of the last 2 decades. Not in Bangladesh, but for the Asian Cricket Council and the ICC. A stellar, a brilliant CV as a cricket administrator, as a coaching mentor. He's right on top of the game. Just to give you an idea and the viewers an idea, if you talk to someone from Nepal, Afghanistan, these are emerging cricket nations, Oman, from Asia, from the Asia region, you talk to someone from there, they will tell you, even Thailand women's cricket team. I remember doing a story on the Thailand women's cricket team a couple of years ago, and the first thing that came to their mind was Aminul Islam's contribution to their cricket team or the cricket board and how he shaped it. He was elected as the board president after the NSC changed their vote. There was a huge drama over that weekend. I think last month it was. Farooq Ahmed was removed. It was covered wall to wall in the Bangladesh media, but also even in the international media, it made its way how the drama happened. Farooq Ahmed was removed, and then within less than 24 hours, Aminul Islam Bulbul was appointed as the board president. He has already done a few things. He has to celebrate the occasion of the 25th test for full membership status. He's held a big rally sort of all over the country. It was like a road show in all the different divisional headquarters. And I can already see you're very bored with what I'm saying. You're not too impressed. But I think as the board president, it's his strength, working with children and working with young adults and working with the grassroots, which is fine. But in a recent interview, Khalid Mahmood, to Not Out No Man, Khalid Mahmood gave a very long interview, and he said that, Bulbhai, don't worry about the grassroots. It's in place. You have to worry about other things. I think something like that. I don't know.
Yes, structures. He mentioned that.
Spoke about the structure, right.
He categorically mentioned that please develop academies instead of working out.
Look, I'll take
I think that's okay.
No, that part is okay. Maybe I'll take the whole interview with a pinch of salt because there was a lot of other things that could have been said differently or was not absolutely correct. But this part I agree with, because I think the talk of grassroots, there is a problem with grassroots when you talk about decentralization of cricket administration. That is a problem. There are no mini BCBs anywhere else. It's only Dhaka. They're trying to separate that. That was already in the works under the previous board president. I mean, Nazmul Hasan had already started working on it. It didn't pan out. Then I think Farooq Ahmed tried to implement it. That also didn't happen. Let's see whether
No, they had the pilot project once.
My question being right now, it's a loaded question, is what will...
Isham, just...
Sure.
Let this, before answering you this question, I just wanted to ask you, didn't it surprise that Aminul Islam, being a former captain himself and being the board president who was present in the Zoom meeting, should have acted differently in this occasion? Should have taken time to talk with Shanto?
Can you imagine that here's a guy, Aminul Islam Bulbul, who out of his frustration with the cricket board never retired from international cricket technically, and he always held that I won't say grudge, but I would say he always held that disappointment in him that the cricket board didn't treat him well, and he and Nazmul Abedin being some of the staunchest critics of the cricket board's lack of professionalism, within a month of his, even less than a month of his presidency, this thing happens.
Yeah, it was totally surprising for me.
Very surprising that there was no communication with Shanto.
Because what I felt is that what we expect from Bulbul Bhai is that Amir Islam, that he would have said that, okay, let's wait, let the Sri Lanka series end, I'll have a chat with Shanto, I'll see what can be done, and then if we need, we'll do this. Instead of rushing for that.
Yeah, it was surprising and slightly disappointing that people who claim to be so professional acted so unprofessionally, and without, people who claim to be, top of their communications game really lacked communication. And that is where, okay, you can also say that this is the cricket board. Bangladesh Cricket Board is known to be cynical and so brutal with cricket captains. I think our senior journalist Saeed Zaman wrote a brilliant piece on settings.
and just to make that the first one to get this was Amir Islam.
Exactly.
He lost it. He did not lead Bangladesh test, whereas he was expected to lead Bangladesh in the inaugural.
A much junior cricketer was named as a captain. Yeah.
So now
my question being, Aminul Islam, I think theoretically has about till October, which is not too long from now. I think 4 months, because by October they'll have to do the election. I'm not going to ask you about election gossip. I'm going to ask you, do you think he wants to contest the election, or do you think that he has the capability of running a fair election?
First and foremost is that previously I could have said that he would not run for the election, as per his statement.
His initial statements.
But right now I can't say that.
Why?
Because the way he's moving and the way he's trying to organize and get all these things, at the deep of his heart, he might have an inclination towards president.
Right.
I might be wrong because I don't know his mind. But if the people who are surrounded him, the people with whom he's surrounded with, tells him that you are the right person to go for it, and he opts to do that, then it won't be surprising.
Okay.
Because it's a big post, president's post. Secondly is that he wants to hold the election. How he will hold it? I don't think by October he can hold it. What will happen is that before the next BCB election won't be there before the next general election.
The country's general election, the parliamentary election. You're thinking the parliamentary election will take place in February? Supposed to
be in February, and probably afterwards BCB election will take. And probably they will be talking with ICC regarding
this delay.
Extending, because they would be pointing out that even if we have an election right now, then if a new government comes in,
the board president or the directors won't be acceptable to them. And there is no hiding the fact that politics plays a huge role in the BCB.
It's everywhere, but in the subcontinent.
Yeah, of course. Just to add a last point, Atif bhai, they held an event recently in the cricket board to commemorate very big event. But they didn't invite the two people who were instrumental in Bangladesh's test status. On 26 November, there was no Aminul Islam. Inside the ICC room was only Sabir Hossain Chaudhary and Syed Ashraful Haq, who had fought hard and they had planned the whole thing and they got the test status. It seemed to me on this occasion held in Mirpur that Bangladesh basically on the morning of 26 June 2000 was just handed the ICC full membership and then they played the test match in November. There wouldn't have been a test match ever if these people were not involved. Of course, Sabir Hossain Chaudhary being part of the previous government, Naimur Rahman Durja, the captain of that team, was also an MP of that. Both of them were MPs. But Ashraful Haq, I thought...
I went to that program for a few minutes.
These journalists were also invited.
Yeah, I went there stayed there for a couple of minutes. I thought that at least BCB would have the decency to call Ashraful Haq.
There was no political affiliations
No,
at
Ashraful
all.
Haq did a wrong thing. He mentioned somewhere that he wanted to be the board president.
Oh, yeah.
In a big interview.
Right.
Probably that forced BCB not to invite him. Because
There's a deep state at play in the VC.
Yeah.
We know who it is. Let's just we will try to get him.
We'll try to get him someday. But I mean that bringing Ashraful Haq, and they thought that bringing Ashraful Haq and with so many medias around.
No, wait, sorry. The deep state person has already given you an interview.
No, but
Anyways,
I just want to say, probably BCB felt that bringing in Ashraful Haq, and suddenly when he would arrive, that he is not giving random interviews.
Yeah.
So there were so many medias asking him this question whether you are going to be the next board president or not.
Right.
And he would say that.
Yeah.
Then it will be difficult for them because it will from earlier it was done by Posamallo and no other.
No, I think even the day after Bulbul Bhai became the president, there was an interview.
Posamallo did a big story with him.
Oh, huge
story.
Yeah.
And others also, we also continued, some of the other outlets. But it would have been a massive message.
Yeah.
On that test status day, the man who brought test status is eyeing to get a post in the BCB, the best. And it could be a big headline.
Those with ambitions to be in the BCB wouldn't have liked it.
That would have been a big headline.
Right.
Probably sidelining the work all over. So they did say. I think we understand BCB's mind nowadays.
Yeah.
What makes them take such and such issues? Because they are probably more inclined in headlines than any other things.
Yeah. Anyways, we are hopefully done for today. Yeah, we are done for today. But we will be back to you next week. We will be a little more regular. We have already promised to be regular, but there was a little bit of a break this month because of my issues. But
how is your mother, Ishan?
So she's getting back. She's getting back.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. Okay. So we will be back next week with Daily Cricket presents CRICKTALK. From me, Mohammad Isam, and from Atif Azam, it's goodbye.
Thank you.